Hello friends, started with the topic. In last lecture, we studied about the strength of the dose for homeopathic use. In this, we studied the aphorism number 273 to 285. In this, we studied what should be the dose of the homeopathic remedy. Then, the large dose is injurious to the health. Then, effect of high potency. Then, what should be the minimum dose? Then we studied about the selection of potency, then homeopathically selected medicine, then science of selection of correct medicine or the science of correct selection of perfect cure. Then we studied about the homeopathic aggravations and the suitableness of homeopathic dose. In this, the strength of the dose for homeopathic use. This will study This we studied in the last lecture. In today's lecture, we are going to see the various kinds of doses, then what should be the repetition of the dose, and what should be the potency of the medicine that we select for the homeopathic cure. This will important for the practical use while we studying the homeopathy or while we practicing the homeopathy. In this started with the various kinds of doses. In this there are different types of doses. But prior to this, what is mean by dose? In this, a homeopathic dose means the particular preparation of medicine used, the quantity and the form of that preparation as well as the number of administration. Means the homeopathic dose means it is a particular preparation of medicine what we used for the treatment point of view, and the quantity and the form of that preparation as well as the number of administration. Means while we prepare the medicine, what should be the its preparation of medicine, then what should be its quantity, and what should be the form of that preparation, as well as how we administered it to the patient. In short, homeopathic dose includes the potency, quantity, form, and the number of administration of the medicine. Means what should be the potency, then what should be the quantity of that potency, then what is the form we give to the medicine, and the number of administration. What should be the number of administration of the particular medicine. In short, this is the dose of the homeopathic medicine. That is includes potency, quantity, form, and number of administration of the medicine. This we call it as a homeopathic dose. In this, we are going to study the various kinds of doses. In various kinds of doses, the first is the maximum dose. What is mean by maximum dose? In this, it is the maximum or the largest possible quantity of medicine not harmful to human life which can taken at a time by an individual. Maximum means it is a largest possible quantity of medicine that is not harmful to human life, but this is not harmful to the human life which can taken at a time by an individual. This is the maximum dose. Means it is not harmful, but it is the largest possible quantity of medicine. In homeopathy, maximum dose should not be administered for the treatment except in case of primary manifestation of sora, psychosis, and syphilis. In homeopathy, we cannot use the maximum dose. In homeopathy, we use the minimum dose as we require the minimum stimulus to give the stimulus to the vital force that will treat the patient. In homeopathy, maximum doses should not be administered for treatment except in cases of primary manifestation of sora. As in primary manifestation of sora, psychosis, and syphilis, we use the maximum dose to stimulate that primary manifestation of different miasms. So, this is the maximum dose. After maximum dose, The second type of dose is the lethal or the fatal dose. In this, what is the lethal or the fatal dose? It is also known as a toxicological or the narcotic dose. It is such amount of dose which can cause death of a living being. Means it is a lethal or the fatal or the toxicological or the narcotic dose. And this is the amount of dose that causes the death of living being. Maximum dose cannot cause the death of living being, but it is the largest quantity of dose of medicine that will be taken. It is called as a maximum dose. But the lethal dose or the fatal dose means it is the amount of dose that can cause the death of living being. And along with this, the minimum lethal dose means it is the smallest dose that has been recorded as a fatal to healthy persons. Means it is a smallest quantity of dose that can cause the death of patient also, that is called as a minimal lethal dose. Then the booster dose. Next type is of booster dose. Booster dose means it is a subsequent dose given to enhance the action of initial dose. Means first we give the initial dose, and after the initial dose we will give the booster dose to enhance the action of that particular medicine. That is, we call it as a booster dose, that will enhance the action of first dose, that we call it as a booster dose. In this, nowadays we studied as when we give the arsenic 30 as an initial dose. After arsenic 30, in this pandemic case of corona, we give the booster dose of arsenic to the patient. That is a subsequent dose given to enhance the action of initial dose. Then next type is of fractional dose or the refractive or the divided dose. It is the fraction of full dose which is taken at short interval. Means a full dose is divided into number of doses, that is a fraction, or it is also called it as a refractive dose, or also we call it as a divided dose. That is the fraction of full dose which is taken at a short interval. Then next is physiological dose. What is meant by physiological dose? Are those doses which stimulate the normal physiology or functions of different organs or system of our body. That we call it as a physiological doses, that acts on the physiological part of a body, or that will acts on the functions of different organs or system of body, that we call it as a physiological dose. Physiological dose, its action is toxic in nature. Its action is exact opposite to that of a curative action, and it is never employed in homeopathic practice for curative purpose. It is injurious to patients. Physiological dose means a medicine which we used for the that changes occur on a physiological level, and these are the changes that we, the physiological dose, we give the medicine in a crude form, and in homeopathy we cannot give the medicine in a crude form, we give the medicine in a dynamic form. So the physiological action is toxic in nature. Its action is toxic in nature. Its action is exact opposite to that of a curative action. That is, the curative form of crude form of medicine that we used, that cannot cause the cure of patient. Then it is never employed in homeopathic practice for curative purpose. Also, it is never employed in homeopathy for the curative purpose, and it is also injurious to the patient. Then next type is of average dose. What is mean by average dose? It is the prescriber's adjusted dose according to the requirement of the patient. Average dose means what is the patient required, and the prescribers adjust that dose according to the requirement of patient, and that we call it as a average dose. Then single dose. Single dose, it means the only one dose should be given in a day. Means in a day we give the only single dose, that we call it as a single dose. Then daily dose. Daily dose means it is the total amount that can be given in a day, either as a single dose or the total amount divided into 3 or 4 doses. Means daily dose can be given singly in whole day, or it can be divided into 3 or 4 doses and given in that day only, that we call it as a daily dose. Then total dose, it means the total amount to be given in a day which should not be exceeded. This is the total amount of dose that can be given in a day. So these are the different types of doses. Then next is the minimum dose. Prior to this, we revised the doses what we studied. First one, that is maximum dose, means the maximum quantity or the largest quantity of dose that is given to the patient, that we called it as a maximum dose. Then second is the lethal dose, also called as a fatal dose, that causes the death of a patient, that we call it as a lethal dose or a fatal dose. Then minimum lethal dose, that is a minimum quantity or the smallest quantity of dose that causes the harmful to the patient or that causes the death of a patient, that is the minimum lethal dose. Then we studied about the average dose, then single dose, then total dose, then daily dose. These are the different types of or the kinds of doses. The next kind or the type is of minimum dose, that is described in aphorism number 279. That is, the dose of a homeopathically selected remedy can never be prepared so small that it shall not be stronger than the natural disease and shall not be able to overpower, extinguish, and cure it, at least in parts, as long as it is capable of causing some, though but a slight preponderance of its own symptoms over those of the disease resembling it, that is slightest homeopathic aggravation. Means the homeopathic dose, it should be that much capable of that producing the stronger artificial disease, and that stronger artificial disease annihilate the natural weaker disease, and this is the dose that we require in homeopathy. Means, and that causes the slightest homeopathic aggravation, that is the good sign, that means our remedy is acting. That is the requirement of a dose in a homeopathy, that is minimum dose. Then reason behind the application of minimum dose. What are the reason that we apply for giving the minimum dose? In this, the disadvantages of large dose. First we see what are the disadvantages of large dose. In this, the too large dose of homeopathic medicine is injurious. Means when we give the larger dose, these are injurious to the patient. Its quantity as well as its homeopathic stimulus will produces an unnecessary impressions upon the vital force, which in turn acts upon the most sensitive part of the organism already most seriously affected by the natural disease. That we see in aphorism number 275, that is too large doses are injurious to the health, that causes the harm to the patient, as patient is already suffering, and when we prescribe the large dose, it is serious condition for the patient. That is, the suitability of the homeopathic medicine not only depends upon the similarity of the medicine symptoms of natural disease and medicine, but also upon the selection of an appropriate dose. In this, if the dose of homeopathic medicine selected is too large, it causes great impression upon those parts of the organism which are affected by natural disease. Means already patient is suffering from natural disease, and the same part of the patient affected by that large dose due to the similarity, and that medicines start proving, and that causes the large homeopathic aggravations, and this causes more harm to the patient. It does means much more injury than a equally large dose of allopathic medicine. That also we studied in aphorism number 276, that is the homeopathicity means just matching of symptoms of medicine to the symptom of natural disease without selection of an appropriate dose is called as a homeopathicity. And for the sake of above reason, although medicine is selected by matching symptom of a disease to the medicine causes harm in each and every doses which is too high, and when it is frequently repeated means it is more dangerous to use the large doses of homeopathic medicines. Hence we use the minimum doses. Then what are the advantages of using the minimum dose? In this, harm done by the smallest possible dose is so slight that it may be immediately extinguished or repaired by the natural vital powers. In this, we use the minimum dose as minimum dose cannot cause harm to the patient while the treatment, and in this, harm done by the smallest possible dose is so slight that it is immediately extinguished. It is automatically gone and repaired by the natural vital powers as our vital force recovered it immediately. Injury arising from the smallest dose of wrongly selected medicine will be insignificant. Means when we select a wrong medicine but giving the minimum dose or the small dose, the harmness is insignificant. But if we select the similar medicine and giving the larger dose, that causes the more harm to the patient, and unwanted aggravations can be avoided by minimum dose. When we select the minimum dose for the patient, the unwanted aggravations can be avoided. So these are the advantages of using the minimum dose and the disadvantages of using the large dose. Hence we use the minimum dose in homeopathy. In this, the smallness of drug does not allow the drug to do any organic damage. Also, when we use the smallness of drug, that cannot cause any organic damage to the human being, and to take the full advantage of finer and finest curative property of the remedy, they should be administered in minimum dose. Also, we have to take the full advantage of fine and finest curative property of each remedy, and that should be administered in a minimum dose. Also, the advantage of minimum dose is in order to maintain the similarity of the subsequent sequences of the disease and drug, minimum dose is suitable. And when we have to maintain the similarity of the sequences of the disease and drug, minimum dose is suitable. The next advantage is the concept of minimum dose is verified by the law, that is the small dose stimulate, medium dose paralyzes, and the large dose kills. Hence we use the small dose in homeopathy. That it is said that the small dose stimulate, minimum dose paralyzes, and the large dose kills. So these are the different advantages of using the minimum dose in homeopathy. So in first part we see the different types of doses, what is mean by doses, various kinds of doses, and what are the uses of advantages of minimum dose, and what are the disadvantages of larger dose. So this is regarding the dose in homeopathy. Then next about the repetition. When we have to repeat that dose, we select the dose. After selecting the dose, how it should be repeated. So this is regarding the repetition of dose. In this, to achieve the rapid cure, three conditions should be satisfied. That is the similimum, minimum dose, and the third one, repetition. As when patient comes to us, first we select the similimum, that is similar remedy should be selected on the basis of taking the case. After taking the case, we match the symptoms, and after matching symptoms we select the similimum. Then after selection of a remedy, we select the dose of or the dose of that medicine, that is the minimum dose should be selected that will act on a patient. And the third condition that comes to us, that is repetition of the doses, means after the selection of first dose, what should be the repetition of the next dose. So to achieve the rapid cure, these three conditions should be necessary, that is similimum, minimum dose, and repetition. Factor responsible for the repetition of dose are: first one, that is condition and progress of the patient; second, nature of the disease; and the third one, nature of the remedy. Means what are the factors that are responsible for the repetition of dose, means when we have to repeat that dose, this depends on these three conditions. In this, first is the condition and the progress of the patient, means what is the condition of that or the progress of the patient that will recognize the repetition is required or not. Then second one, nature of disease, means the disease is of acute character or it of chronic character. Then the nature of remedy, means when we select the similimum, what we select, it is short acting medicine or it is long acting medicine. What is the nature of that particular medicine, that will decide the repetition of the dose. So these are the three factors that are responsible for the repetition of dose. You have to remember it. First one, condition and progress of the patient. Second one, nature of the disease. And third one, nature of the remedy. Let's see one by one the different factors. In this, first factor is condition and the progress of the patient, means the perceptible and the continued progress of improvement contraindicates repetition. Means if patient having a perceptible and the continued progress of improvement, there is improvement in patient, that will contradict the repetition. Means when we see the improvement in the patient, we cannot repeat that medicine, so this will contraindicate the repetition. Then under these conditions, every new dose of medicine would disturb the progress of amelioration. Means when the patient is on a track of a improvement or the track on a cure, and if we repeat the medicine or do the repetition of dose, that will disturb the progress of amelioration. So we do not repeat at this condition when we see the improvement in the patient. Then cessation of progress is not to be taken as an indication for repetition. Means when there is cessation of progress, it is not to be taken as an indication for repetition. Means when there is stoppage of progress or there is decrease in the progress, that is not to be taken as an indication for repetition. The only indication for repetition is return of the disappeared symptoms. Means there is, when there is cessation of symptom, this is not the indication for repetition, but only the indication for repetition is the return of the disappeared symptoms. Means the symptom first present but that are disappeared, and when that will again appear. The only indication for repetition is the return of the disappeared symptoms. In this condition, we will repeat the medicine or the dose of the medicine. Then the second condition is nature of disease in acute cases. in nature of disease we will see it in acute cases and we'll see in a chronic cases. Then what is the nature of disease? First, in acute cases, the action of remedy is known to exhaust early, therefore frequent repetition are indicated. The action of the remedy is known to exhaust early, means the action of remedy is exhaust early, therefore frequent repetition are indicated, means in acute condition we prescribe the acute remedy to the patient, and this having the short duration of action, and that short duration of action required the frequent repetition. Second, as the response is obtained, the frequency is cut down progressively so that dose tapers gradually, means in acute condition when there is, as response is obtained, the frequency is cut down progressively, means we have to cut down the frequency, and so that the dose tapers gradually, we have to tapers that dose gradually, not the suddenly. Then premature cessation of the remedy is known to promote relapse. When there is premature cessation of the remedy is known to promote relapse of that dose. Then may be repeated every 24 hours, 12, 8 or 4 hours, etc. Means in acute condition we do the frequent repetitions. It will be repeated after 24 hours, it will be repeated 12 hourly, it may be repeated 8 hourly, or it may be repeated 4 hourly also. Then in most acute cases every hour to as often as every 5 minutes, means in most acute cases we can repeat the doses in hours or in every 5 minutes also, that is according the nature of the disease. Then in chronic cases we use the single dose stimulation is the rule, means in chronic cases we give the single dose to the patient. Multiple doses stimulation on the same day or on a consecutive day should be reserved for the cases in which single dose stimulation has failed, means the single dose if not act on a patient, then we can give the same medicine on same day or in a consecutive days when the single dose stimulation has failed. Then as soon as adequate response is obtained, further stimulation should be suspended, means when we see the adequate response from the patient, then we have to obtain further stimulation should be suspended, means then we have to stop that medicine. That is the case in chronic diseases. So this is second condition, that is nature of disease. In nature of disease we see what should be the repetition of dose in acute conditions and what should be the repetition of dose in chronic condition. Mostly in acute condition we repeat the medicines, but in chronic conditions we give the single dose to the patient. In also chronic condition, in borderline cases, deep acting constitutional remedies like phosphorus does not bear frequent repetition. This is example, as in borderline cases deep acting constitutional remedies like phosphorus does not bear frequent repetition, means when we giving the deep acting medicine, that should not be frequently repeated. Then finally, before changing the potency, multiple dose stimulation should be tried, otherwise a needless aggravation is precipitated. Means finally, before changing the potency, multiple dose stimulation should be tried, otherwise a needless aggravation is precipitated. Means when we give the medicine to the patient and we see that there is no any use of that particular dose or the potency, then we have to change that potency, but before changing that potency we give the multiple doses of same potency. That should be tried, otherwise a needless aggravation is precipitated. As if we cannot try these multiple doses and we change the potency, we will see the needless aggravation in the patient. So we have to give the multiple doses before changing that potency. So this is regarding the nature of the disease in acute and in chronic condition. Now the third condition is nature of remedy. In nature of remedy, we have to see that is medicine in lower potency, that is for frequent repetition, and medicine in higher potency that are not frequently repeated. This is the third condition, that is nature of the remedy. In this we see the potency of that medicine. Means what is the potency of that medicine? If we give the lower potency medicine, that should be repeated frequently, but if we give the higher potency, that should not be repeated frequently. Then in this, the second point is of duration of action of that particular remedy. First we see the potency of remedy. Second point, that is duration of action of remedy. In this deep acting remedies, that is medicine from elements, compounds, minerals and no sorts, read less frequently. So these are the deep acting remedies should not be repeated frequently. These are repeated less frequently. These are the, that is the elements, compounds, minerals and no sorts. Then short acting remedy, that is remedies from the vegetable and animal kingdom, that should be repeated frequently. So that is regarding the deep acting and short acting. Deep acting medicine cannot be repeated frequently. Short acting medicine that can be repeated frequently. This is second point regarding the nature of remedy. Then third point, that is medicine having alternating actions. If medicine having alternating actions, if no improvement follows, another small dose of the same medicine is prescribed. If we see there is no use of particular medicine, in that case we will see the another remedy that is very similar to the first remedy. If no improvement follows, another small dose of the same medicine can be prescribed to see the action of that medicine or to improve the patient. So this is regarding the repetition of the doses. First we will see the what is mean by dose, then we see various kinds of doses, then we see what is mean by minimum dose, what are the advantages of minimum dose and disadvantages of large dose. After this we started with the repetition. Repetition depends upon three conditions, that is similimum, then second point is that is minimum dose, and the third point, that is repetition. So repetition having depend again on three factors, that is the condition of the patient, second one that is nature of the disease, and the third one nature of the remedy. So these are the three conditions on which the repetition of doses depend. In this we see the condition of patient. In this, if there is improvement in patient, in this case we should not repeat the dose. Then in second condition, that is nature of disease, in acute condition we repeat the medicine frequently. In chronic cases we should not repeat the medicine frequently. Then third condition, that is regarding the nature of remedy. In this, regarding the potency, if potency is low we will repeat it, if potency is high we will not repeat it. Then according the duration of action, short acting medicine we will repeat frequently, and deep acting medicine that will not be repeated frequently. Then if there is medicines having alternating action, in this case we will use the another medicine which is very similar to the former but give in a small dose to see the action of that particular medicine. So these are the points regarding the repetition of dose. Now the third important point regarding the potency, that will see in part 2.